I'm Sarah, I'm from Tafwa, and I love listening to Today FM. Today FM rocks.
My name is Freddy, I'm from Gamiatong. I listen to Mario on the traffic jam every afternoon.
Hi, my name is Salah, I live in Asinu. Today FM rocks.
My name is Denasa and I'm from Lutoka and I love listening to Today FM.
My name is Mulamila, I work at Golden Point Resort. I love listening to Today FM, it rocks in Raki.
I'm Mary from Mandera. I love listening to Today FM. Today FM rocks.
We love listening to Today FM. Today FM rocks.
Today's hit music on Today FM.
Good evening, this is FBC News. I'm Jackie Spate. In this bulletin, Data Bureau services come under government spotlight. Concerns over regional free trade agreement need to be addressed, says Trade Minister. An education review in 2016 to improve literacy and numeracy. Data Bureau Fiji doesn't have any legal framework or backing, and Finance Minister Ayasad Qayyum says this needs to be looked into. Data Bureau is essentially a service where records of creditors can be shared between members.
In 2016, the government will be looking at the basis of Data Bureau itself, how and why all financial institutions should use it.
We have also seen an abuse of the system, where sometimes certain companies, even for a $10 non-payment, are actually reporting to the people to the Data Bureau. So when they go off to courts or some other, hire purchase company or even to a bank, they'll say, oh, you're listed on the Data Bureau. So this obviously is not right, and it needs to be regulated.
Data Bureau was started by financial and credit institutions in 2001. It has since grown to include almost every major business, including motor vehicle dealers, retail outlets, hardware suppliers, construction companies, unions, and even resorts. Said Qayyum says the government is going to regulate services such as those provided by Data Bureau, where information of creditors is to be considered.
We will ensure that in the next 1 year or so, there will be some new laws that will be put in place to ensure that this is regulated, because there needs to be certain rules around this, and there needs to be a legal recognition of such an organization.
Consumer Council of Fiji Chief Executive Premila Kumar says they have seen some irresponsible behavior affecting consumers.
What we have found is that, in fact, often wrong information has been put into the Data Bureau and consumers are given runaround.
Data Bureau General Manager Dolores Elliott says they comply with all laws and supply factual credit information to lenders who make their own decision on how to treat that information. Elliott also says the objective of the Bureau is to enable consumers to have ready access to finance and credit. The Data Bureau website states that more than 1 million searches have been conducted by members, with 90% on consumers with unsecured loans and or hire purchases. It also says there is zero tolerance on customers that have outstanding debts who are wishing to obtain credit from members. Customers are made to pay off their debts first before applying for credit. Farzana Nisha, FBC News.
Fiji may consider pulling out from the Pacific Agreement for Closer Economic Relations, or PACER Plus, which offers Pacific Island Forum countries benefit from enhanced regional trade and economic integration. Trade Minister Fayaz Koya was at a PACER Plus meeting in Nadi today and says the scheme in its current form leaves a lot to be desired. Akusita Tale reports.
The government is calling for a review of PACER Plus negotiations, the regional free trade agreement driven by Australia and New Zealand, which is supposed to bring great economic benefits to the Pacific.
Today, we have a PACER Plus that does not provide binding commitments in labour mobility or development cooperation. And furthermore, the Pacific parties are being pushed to give away their policy space, especially the right to regulate.
Koya says PACER Plus should be a living agreement without any country having difficulties in implementing the agreement. The minister adds all governments should ensure that current negotiations result in a long-term, predictable and sustainable agreement leading to increase in exports, job creation, poverty alleviation and private sector growth.
Development should be at the core of PACER Plus, and that the final outcome should reflect this by taking into account the different levels of development between Australia and New Zealand on the one hand and the Pacific Island countries on the other.
Despite considerable progress made in the negotiations, there are still a number of issues on contention. The Fiji government has also disagreed with PACER Plus, replacing the South Pacific Regional Trade and Economic Cooperation Agreement, or SPATECA.
It must be understood that SPATECA is a separate treaty that was given to the Pacific under different circumstances. Hence, the SPATECA must remain to exist, and our private sector and exports could choose under which framework they wish to conduct their business.
The government has called on members of PACER Plus and its secretariat to take on board concerns raised by the private sector and address them accordingly. Akosita Talei, FBC News.
A number of initiatives and reforms will be rolled out next year to deal with the weaknesses in literacy and numeracy. This has been announced by Education Minister Dr. Mahendra Reddy.
The Education Minister has assured parents and guardians Fiji will have one of the best education systems in the next 5 years. This will be evident in students graduating from secondary schools.
I want to assure you, and we are steadfast, we're doing everything possible, despite numerous criticisms. Now, someone in papers today criticized us for not consulting. Unfortunately, to the contrary, this year the amount of consultation and talanua we did with the stakeholders, never before.
Dr. Reddy says 4 education forums and 34 open discussions were held this year, where people have been encouraged to come forward with concerns.
We are doing consultation and we have an open mind. Anyone who wants to give us ideas, information, we're totally open to receiving them and examining them so that we can include that in our strategies.
A new reform will be launched in 2016 to deal with parental engagement. Akosita Talei, FBC News.
The Media Industry Development Authority says the industry is not doing enough to get to the bottom of gender violence in Fiji. Speaking on Fbctv's For the Record program, MIDA Chair Ashwin Raj says news outlets aren't digging deep enough or asking the right questions. Ellen Stolz reports.
One of the,
Media Industry Development Authority Chair Ashwin Raj says journalists need to know the law when it comes to violence and effectively reporting on these issues.
What does the crimes decree say? What does the domestic violence decree say? What is a bailable offense? What does the media, mean when it says, alleged? So on and so forth. Things that we take for granted.
MIDA conducted training for journalists on reporting gender violence, and Raj says there needs to be more such exposure for those in the media industry.
When you do have staff that undergo, these kind of critical training, because of the fact that the turnover rate is so high, because of the fact that, you don't have a number of people in your newsroom, everybody reports on everything else.
Raj says it's only when journalists understand the pivotal role they play in society and take action will there be a change.
The media can play a fundamental role in shifting the terms of the debate so that, society catches up with the progressive laws, and society, an enlightened society can then actually, think about legal transformation, think about political transformation, think about social transformation.
The MIDA chair adds that the voice and the rights of the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, intersex and queer community, or LGBTIQ, also need to be included more consistently. Ellen Stolz, FBC News.
The first progressive report of the Pacific Women Shaping Pacific Development Program, Pacific Women, is being launched in Suva this evening. The report provides a snapshot of the program's achievements and challenges in its first 3 years. 14 Pacific Island countries, including Fiji, have received some form of support through Pacific Women. We now cross live to Ellen Stolz, who is at the launch. Ellen, what is the program all about?
Yes, Jackie, Pacific Women is a $500 million investment, which is the Australians' flagship for gender equality in the region. Now, tonight, they will be launching a report which will highlight 90 activities that have been implemented over the 14 Pacific Forum countries. That includes the likes of Tuvalu, Vanuatu, Solomon Islands, as well as Tuvalu, to name a few. Now, over the last 3 years, through Pacific Women, more than 12,000 women have been able to access crisis support services, which includes counseling, health, as well as legal support. And also through Pacific Women, more than 600 women have been able to obtain formal qualifications, such as in the sectors such as tourism, fashion, and carpentry. Jackie.
Thanks so much for that, Ellen. After the break, salvage companies show interest in MV Sullivan.
मैं नीलगिरी मदर्स क्लब की रोहिणी कुमार हूँ और रेडियो फीजी 2 की मैं बड़ी दीवानी हूँ।
मेरा नाम राम है, मैं लटोका में रहता हूँ और जस्ती करके मैं रेडियो फीजी 2 सुन रहा हूँ।
हाय, मैं हूँ आइना नाभुआ टाउन से। नाभुआ में रेडियो फीजी 2 सबकी पसंद।
मेरा नाम अश्विन है, मैं रेगरेकी में टैक्सी का व्यापार करता हूँ और ज़्यादातर हम लोग रेगरेकी में रेडियो फीजी 2 सुनते हैं।
हमारा नाम रोशनी है, मैं तावा टाउन से बात कर रही हूँ। मुझे रेडियो फीजी बहुत पसंद है।
रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की धड़कन।
Welcome back. This is FBC News. 3 overseas companies have shown interest in conducting assessments to salvage the MV Sullivan, which sank in the Suva Harbour about 2 weeks ago. The Fiji Ports Authority confirms the interested parties are overseas companies with local counterparts. Savara Tambua has more.
The MV Sullivan lies at the bottom of the Suva Harbour with an as yet undecided future. Fiji Ports Authority Chief Executive Vajira Piasena says they are working with the Ministry of Transport and the Maritime Safety Authority to identify the suitable contractor who can carry out assessment works.
This kind of exercise is there is very limited local expertise. It has to be done and has to to prepare a proper comprehensive report. It has to be done by some experienced people. So generally it's overseas part.
Piasena says the quicker the assessment is done, the better due to the urgency of the matter. The Ports Authority is mindful of the fact that the MV Sullivan was carrying 8,000 litres of diesel when it sank. It would be an environmental hazard if the fuel leaked into the harbour.
It will be as soon as possible because it's ongoing, and already this. I believe the ministry will make a decision immediately, and then we will be contacting the identified the contractor, and then to start the assessment immediately.
The vessel was sailing into Suva from the Northern Division when it started listing and eventually sank. The MV Sullivan was owned by Venue Shipping and used as a cargo vessel. Sabira Tambua, FBC News.
44 people charged with sedition and urging political violence appeared in the Lautoka High Court today. The group is alleged to have been involved in paramilitary-style training in the Western Division. The case has been adjourned to December 10th for a bail ruling for 20 of the accused persons. Another 21 also applied for bail today and will have the matter heard on December 23rd. All have been further remanded in custody except 2 juveniles who are on bail and Saimoni Nadolawa, who was earlier released on bail due to medical reasons. A number of people will be questioned for allegedly assisting a 31-year-old rape suspect from evading police. The suspect was wanted for the alleged rape of a 6-year-old girl in Lautoka last week. Chief of Intelligence and Investigations ACP Henry Brown says considering the severity of the case and several pleas for assistance, there were still people who were intent on helping the suspect. As a result, the investigation will focus on both the alleged perpetrator as well as those who have been assisting him. The 31-year-old suspect was apprehended on Saturday afternoon at Naroro settlement in Nandronga and remains in custody at the Lautoka police station. Meanwhile, police are continuing to request for information that could assist in identifying the suspect wanted for the alleged rape of a 7-year-old also in Lautoka. Anyone with information is requested to call Crime Stoppers on 919 or their nearest police station. Actress Usha Nadkarni, known as Fbctv, made a visit to the Fiji Broadcasting Corporation this morning. The actress, famous in the series Pavitra Rishta, and 2 other stars were hosted by FBC. Shriti Prasad has more.
After her successful shows in Fiji, the actress was happy to be hosted as a guest for a morning tea at Fiji's biggest media house. Usha Nadkarni says she has been trying to visit Fiji for the past 2 years but couldn't because of her busy schedule. She says the response received from the people of Fiji during the show was unexpected.
I reached Fiji in Nadi. It's hard to express the response I received from the people. People here are so friendly and caring. Everywhere I went, people got so excited and screamed out saying, Fbctv, Bola. It showed the love they had for me.
The actress, accompanied by stars of India's Sare Gama Pa TV show first runner-up Vishwajit Borwankar and Laugh India Laugh comedian Chirag Wadhwani. FBC radio manager Shamilochan says it was great hosting them for breakfast.
She was very happy to visit and she really enjoyed the company. She met with the management and the staff of Fbctv and our radio stations.
Their next show will be held in Tavua Nendi and Lambasa. The crew will be leaving Fiji on the 16th of December. Shriti Prasad, FBC News.
Methodist Church of Fiji spokesperson Reverend James Bhagwan is urging the journalists to use a lot more women players as their talents for sports stories. Reverend Bhagwan says it's been noticed that female players are underrepresented in media. He says women play an equal role to their male counterparts.
For example, the Fijiana, the person that is interviewed the most will be the manager or the coach, which is predominantly male. So again, these become the issues for us. And so the face of that sport is still a male.
Reverend Bhagwan was speaking during Women in Sports Forum in Suva today. And on that note, we have sports up next. Here's Jamie with the very latest.
Thank you, Jackie, and I'm sure our sports team will take note of the words of Reverend James Bhagwan. Coming up in sports tonight, New Zealand's 7th side plagued with injuries after season opener, and Ronald the Slugger Naidu wants nothing but a win over the machine gun. Details after the break.
Dau vinakavia na va ama Bull FM. Niron dau vinkarabio beni lopo viroro ozo. Na Bull FM number 2 na share.
Iyo Bull vina tango peli untuk taliten na barong Bull FM na bu.
Number 2 tinangan ng Bull FM no sur. Bull FM number 2 na share.
Bull sia buni va ulambasa na ko Vila Merikivi Bull FM number 2 na share. Talita itu ngai lambas.
Bull FM number 2 na share.
The Fiji Rugby Union has applauded the Vodafone Fiji 7 side for their win at the Dubai Sevens over the weekend. The Ben Ryan coach side defeated England 28-17 in the final on Sunday morning. FRU Chief Executive Rondron Rotambo Levu was full of praise for the World 7 Series defending champions.
Outstanding start by the team. Credit to Ben and the management team and also the boys. I think it was pleasing to see that at the beginning of the series we are able to hit that level of performance.
The Cape Town leg of the World 7 Series will be played from this Saturday, and you can watch the entire tournament live on FBCTV. New Zealand Sevens coach Gordon Tidgens has called in 3 replacements for the Cape Town Sevens this weekend after his side was ravaged by injury in Dubai. 5 players are returning home to New Zealand after sustaining injuries at the season opening event. The New Zealanders limped to a 4th place finish with captain Scott Curry, Tim Mickelson, Regan Ware, Giles Kaka and Sherwin Stowers all set to miss the next round in Cape Town. The injuries started mounting from New Zealand's first match of the tournament against France. The injured players will be replaced by Antonio Kirikiri, Ambrose Curtis of Manawatu Rugby Club and Buden Waka of Taranaki. Welterweight boxer Ronald the Slugger Naidu is ready to take on Johnny Singh at the Wild West boxing promotion next week. The Nandi boxer is prepared to put up a strong fight against the man called the Machine Gun. Josephine Navula has the details.
With only 4 days remaining for the big fight, Ronald Naidu is training around the clock to better his chances.
I want to do like well in this fight. Since I've quite a long time I never boxed, and yeah, I just going for a win.
Naidu knows how crucial preparation is leading up to the fight.
I'm preparing for a week now, and looking forward to the fight.
Promoter Abdul Khan says they are keeping an eye on boxers' fitness levels.
All the boxers that they are training well. I visited. That's Wild West team is not only signing the boxers we care about the boxers, and we are going to visit all the boxers. Like we're taking the weight of the boxers. The boxers should be knows. I told the boxers, I'm strict from them.
The battle between Ronald Naidu and Johnny Singh will be held at Prince Charles Park in Nandi next Saturday. Josephina Vula, FBC Sports.
The Vodafone Rollball Association of Fiji is ready to take part in its first ever World Cup. And in case you're wondering what rollball is about, it's a newly introduced sport combining netball, futsal and basketball. Rohit Deo explains.
No, you good? A game played on roller skates with a mixture of rules from a number of sports. This is the first time rollball is being played in Fiji. Association President Rizal Hanif says they will give their best against teams like India, Kenya, China, Sweden, Denmark and Great Britain, to name a few.
We're just starting off now, and we want to promote this. When we come back from India, sometimes late December, we want to promote this. This is just a stepping stone.
Major sponsors Vodafone Fiji has provided $5,000 for Rollball Fiji's first tournament.
Recently, the interest in this very sport gave way to Rollball Fiji Association and came the invite to represent Fiji at this year's World Cup event. Vodafone Fiji is extremely delighted to be the name behind the team in taking them to this World Cup.
The World Cup will take place in India from the 14th to the 20th of this month. Team Fiji leaves for India this Sunday. Rohit Deo, FBC Sports.
And finally in sports tonight, in the English Premier League today, Newcastle upset Liverpool 2-0. This was Newcastle's third only win in 15 matches this season. Meanwhile, Leicester City currently leads the EPL table with 32 points after 15 rounds, while Arsenal lie in second place with 30 points. That is your sports for this evening. It's back to Jackie now with business.
The Fiji Revenue and Customs Authority has received a number of complaints against lawyers. Acting Chief Executive Viswanath Das says lawyers are claiming capital gains tax exemptions from FIRCA but are not passing them on to their clients. In one such complaint, a lawyer collected 10% CGT on a property sale and, once given exemption, kept the money instead of handing it over to the clients. Das says they will be lodging complaints with the Legal Practitioners Unit against lawyers involved in such practices. Another windy, sunny day across the country with early morning showers in the east. However, the west remained dry. Ba was the hottest at 33 degrees, while other major centres were in the low 30s, leaving Suva and Savusavu the coolest at 30. Tomorrow calls for more sunshine and possible afternoon showers in the south and east. And for Wednesday, much the same weather as with few early morning showers. Marine at sea, easterly winds 15 to 20 knots, moderate to rough conditions. Our main stories again. Government looking to regulate the sharing of credit data between financial institutions and commercial companies. Education review in 2016 to look at improving literacy and numeracy, and obstacles still remain in PACER Plus negotiations. Results from last week's poll question we had asked, is Christmas becoming too commercialized? 86% answered yes. This week's question, should Piutuai be guaranteed a spot in the Fiji Sevens team to the Rio Olympics? Visit our FBC website to take part. Remember, you can send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email citizenseyes@fbc.com.fj or share it with us via Facebook page, FBC News And if you're on Twitter, follow and tweet us your news tips at FBC_news or simply hashtag FBC News. You've been watching FBC News. I'm Jackie Spate. Bye for now.
Mrs. Manirabu from Batam. I love listening to Gold FM, only the classic hits.
I'm Sela Sadakau from Vatukola. I only listen to Gold FM, only the classic hits.
Bolavinaka, I'm Vale and I'm working at Golden Grove Resort and I love listening to Gold FM because it plays a really wide range of classic music.
I'm Saini Sakio from Kashmir Lotaka. I like Gold FM, but only the classic hits.
Gold FM, only the classic hits.